So let's talk about the next level, because I feel like a lot of people say, well, carnivore is so easy. I wouldn't even need a coach. I wouldn't need, all I have to do is eat meat. So let's talk about some of the things that are beyond eat meat, because you may come across issues. You might gain weight. You might have bathroom problems. There could be a plethora of issues that you could have. So let's touch on some of those for the people who say, I don't need recipes. I don't need a coach.
Right. So not everyone does need a coach. For I'd say probably a third, of the people, they're gonna just be like Dr. Chafee and eat meat and everything's gonna be a dream and it's gonna be wonderful. I am not a carnivore zealot. I do not believe in zealotness. It's not just eat meat. It is anything that is animal based. And honey is not animal based. Honey is bee vomit. It's not something that, it's not like an egg. It's not even like cheese. It's not even like milk.
Oh, are you frozen, Trish? Try popping out and popping back in.
Now, obviously, milk is more for babies, but there are some people in the carnivore space that do really well with raw milk, and I say kudos to them. I do not. It is not for me. So it's more than just eat meat. And for that 2/3 of the population that the just eat meat doesn't work or stops working after a time, then you might need someone that's gonna help you figure out your macros. Here's a good example. I have a friend that I'm coaching, and she just wanted to start with keto. She had tried eating keto in the past, and it never worked. Well, as we were troubleshooting, I knew why it didn't work. She was under eating, and she wasn't getting enough fat. And so it's like, because we can say, well, what is keto? And if you're eating, I hate saying doing keto because it makes it seem like this fad. If you are living a ketogenic lifestyle, you still have to prioritize your protein.
Yes.
You still have to get enough protein so that you don't lose muscle, because especially as we age, we can end up losing muscle. For women especially, because we've got all those pesky hormones. Men have what? Testosterone and thyroid, right? Women have estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and thyroid, right? We've got all these, and ours fluctuates.
Yeah.
So that can make things like really frustrating. So you've got a woman where it's, their counterpart loses 50 pounds in 3 months, and she's stuck at 10 pounds in 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, if she's not eating enough fat because her mind keeps going back to, I need to eat the leaner cuts, your hormones are going to suffer. And you have to, you've got to get that fat in. Now, on the flip side, that doesn't mean that, so I used to be very anti keto, because back in 2016, 2017, all I saw were these weird people on YouTube and stuff poo-pooing protein. Like, oh, you got to keep your protein low because it will turn into sugar, and you just, like, you need to drink gobs of avocado oil. And I was like, how is that healthy? So, but they were wrong. And even Dr. Bickman, he's like, because that was his first encounter with the keto world, if you will.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's really unnatural. It's an unnatural way to eat. And so when I really started digging in and researching, like, that's not keto at all. Keto is, now you have to have your protein right depending on your situation. If you have cancer or you have epilepsy, yes, you may need to limit your protein, but you still have to get enough.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like me, I can have as much protein as I want, and my body's going to tell me, whoa, stop. But I don't need sky-high ketones like someone that has cancer or someone that has epilepsy. So you have to know. But see, I have anxiety and PTSD, so I do need to have more fat than say someone that's never had any sort of, traumatic past and they just live in a utopia, right?
What
So they might
is that?
not
I don't
need,
know any of those.
I don't know either, but maybe they live in Ponyland with
Right?
Pinkie Pie or whoever that is. I don't know, but so for some people, so back to my friend, like I'm like, you're under eating. And so I had her start tracking. I don't have to have everyone start tracking, but I had her start tracking, and not for long term. I needed her to see she's around my age.
Yep.
She's actually a little bit older than me. And within 2 days, she messaged me. She's like, I'm under eating protein. Like
Tracking
she,
forever.
right,
Like it'll tell you right away. Like
right,
it will smack you right in the face with what you're
yep,
doing wrong. Track for a week. Track for a week. I
exactly.
challenge you to
Track
do
for a
it for
week.
1 week.
Yep, exactly. Because here she's thinking she's getting plenty of protein, right?
Mhm.
And that she's really not eating that many carbs. And her goal was to be, 50 grams of carbs or less.
Yep.
And that was fine. I was like, hey, we're gonna start there, right? It's a
Mhm.
starting place. But I said you have to get that protein in first. If you're gonna have something carby, then you have that at the end of the meal.
Yep.
And she wanted to get off of grains and all of that. So any of her carbs would have come from fruit, dairy like yogurt, or vegetables, which is fine. Those are fine carbohydrates if you can tolerate them.
Yeah.
Well, as she was increasing her protein, and then she wasn't used to be a fitness trainer. So she really just couldn't wrap her mind around eating fat wasn't going to make you fat. And so I just I'm like, that's fine. Fill with fat as long as you're not hungry. Well, about a month in, she's like, just not feeling good.
Mm.
And so we re-looked at her macros. She wasn't getting maybe 50 grams of fat in. She had been focusing on more of the lean proteins. So we really switched and got her more back on the beef, with the higher fat. She started feeling great again. And now her and her whole family they've moved to carnivore-ish because they all had health issues, right? And I didn't push that on. I like to meet people where they are. Not everyone needs to be carnivore, but
They don't.
it's helping her. It's helping her husband tremendously. It's helping her with her mood, her anxiety. She had been getting weird rashes and things. Well, it was from plants that she was eating. And once she stopped that, so they're doing really good with this. And she's noticed now things are shifting. And she's been more hungry. Even though she's not losing weight, she's been more hungry. But she's still healing, and that can take some people, 6 months or longer. She has not gained weight. And she had her physical. Her husband's company has them do a physical every year for like life insurance and whatnot. Though her weight was exactly the same as it was a year ago, the scan and all of that showed her fat percentage was down and her muscle was up. So getting people off of the scale portion is huge too, because the scale, shows just a sliver. So having a coach it doesn't even have to be a long-term thing.
Yeah.
It might be you need an accountability person that you check in with once a week for maybe 2 months. They're helping you figure out your macros. Then something in your life changes, so you might need them for, say, another month. It doesn't have to be a forever thing. So yeah, I mean, sometimes people just need someone with the knowledge to help them figure out where they need to be and to get their head out of the scale, to really focus on, man, I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. So the scale hasn't moved, but I'm down 2 pant sizes. We get so hung up on that number, and don't get me wrong, it's lovely to see it move. I've been stalled for a year. Nothing changed in inches or weight. And so, but I knew enough that, and any coach, if I would have had a coach, they would have told me, okay, it's time that we start getting some labs done. And my thyroid was off and I needed to do iodine, and I'm estrogen dominant. So now I need to work to get my hormones corrected, because you will never lose anything if you're fighting hormones. You just won't.
Well, and I try to explain to ladies, especially when we're dealing with hormonal issues, sometimes not gaining weight is the win. Like
Exactly.
normally you'd be gaining 5 to 20 pounds a month, every
Yep.
single month consecutively with these medications and hormonal issues. So
Right.
maybe you're not losing weight, but you're also not gaining any weight.
Yes, exactly.